everyone. This is Jenny. I'm also known as TopKpop, and this is EOS Very Cool. Now, I have a special new segment for you today because I am officially launching Women of EOS. So I have my very first interview with an amazing woman in this space, and I'm going to introduce you to her. Hi, this is Anna from EOS Tribe.
Hello, my name's Anna. Like Jenny said, I'm from EOS Tribe. I'm director of communications for them. I have a degree in advertising and PR and about over a decade in various aspects of marketing and media creation and outreach. So I'm really happy to be here and I'm really excited about this segment. So thank you, TopKpop, for doing this. This is much needed.
Well, thank you. I know I've been trying to get together with you for the last couple of months and I've been slow on this, but I'm so excited that you're my very first interview here because you definitely deserve some more attention for sure. So I know you kind of briefly introduced yourself a little bit. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more and let people know, I guess, who you are in the EOS space here?
So I guess you could find me in Telegram groups jumping around. I've been in the Telegram groups since before mainnet launch, trying to figure out what's going on, because we're trying to create a constitution in Gov and trying to, we have a bunch of developers in the developer group, and it's an ecosystem that is decentralized, but it's also kind of tight-knit. We're like a family, and within that, I've been behind creating some groups after launch, like the helping form the EOS BP compliance group. And that came along as in I saw a guy that was really into data in Gov, and then later on a guy that was like a forensic accountant for Asian affairs in Gov, and they were upset about the compliance and they were throwing their facts in there, and I was like, oh, these guys should get together. And then I also knew females in the space that would help them spread the message and spread the word because they were involved in other groups as well, like the voter proxy group that Katie Roman helped start. And so I just basically was like, hey, you need to start this group. Controlling Hannah set it up for him, gave it to him, ownership of that to him, told him who we should invite, and we invited everyone in there. And I think what you'll see, a main theme with me, is that when I see somebody that has a special talent, I try to bring those people that can complement each other together so they can like self-organize and go from there together instead of be random little voices that get lost in Telegram feeds. Because you see that happen so much and you feel bad because you're like, wow, that was really good data analysis. Like, you guys should come together. Some other groups that I helped form would be the EOS URI group, and I kind of fell into that situation. I was honored to be asked to be a part of that group, and that was to help answer questions for people that were trying to figure out what is this EOS URI and all of that. So we created a Telegram group, and it has a collaborated doc of all the things that Dan had said, mentioning related to URI or UBI, so people can reference those things and see the whole conversation at once. And along with that, I recently started, I don't know if people know about this, but I recently started a EOS V2 Telegram group. So the V2 Telegram group is all the people that are interested in learning more about version 2 of the Constitution that Dan and Block 1 proposed. And within that group, everybody's trying to like study and better understand what the pros and cons of version 1 and version 2 are in an environment that is conducive to learning, and not an environment where they feel, like they're not sophisticated enough or anything to be asking such questions. So it's really like a meeting of the minds and understanding together, and it's a really great group. If you're interested in the version 2, I would go to the V2 Telegram group, and they will always have links to conversations that are happening in the community about that. So I think that's something that kind of just happened that I didn't really plan on doing. Was just, I see people for their motivations, and I try to gather them together so they can be stronger together.
That's such I mean, that's an amazing role to play, though. I mean, you're literally taking two separate puzzle pieces and putting them together and be like, hey guys, you know, you're talking about the same thing. It's just, I think that's an amazing thing to do, and putting together groups where people, like you said, meeting of the minds, and it's just, it's so important. So
Yeah.
it's great to know that you're behind some of that. I didn't even know you were behind some of that.
Oh, you did?
All over the place. So that is awesome. I mean, that's such a role to play, a much needed role, to be quite honest.
Thank you. I mean, with the BP compliance group, is I knew it was needed because there were people in the top 21 that were not adhering to the Reg producer agreement, and everyone's like, what do we do? What do we do? And then people were calling them out with data used from the chain and tracing out what was going to happen or what had happened, and then the thoughts of what could happen if this continues and people don't, you know, file claims with ECAP or whatever. And so I didn't want to own that group because I was part of a BP operation. I felt that that wasn't, that didn't line up very well, but I felt like if I had started a place for them to gather, that they could figure it out together, and try to go in there and encourage them and stuff. But those guys are doing the heavy lifting in there. The same with B2, like I tend to help bring them together and let them hash it out, and I come check in and add when I can. But I'm busy with BP operation stuff too. So yeah, I try to do that, and I encourage other people to do that. Like also the EOS math group was something that I helped. It was going to happen anyways, but it was suggested by Anita and Jack in the URI group that Mike start a math group, and he was like, how do I start this math group? And at first he started a group that was like a channel that broadcasted, and we were like, but then everybody's the broadcaster and we can't like collaborate on what we thought about the numbers. And so we helped him set up a group in which people could see what his spreadsheet was and his numbers, and then they could go back and forth about what their comments were with that. So that's another great Telegram group to check out, is EOS Math. There's a lot of number heads in there, number files, and they're trying to figure it out for Rex and URI. I think that's important that everybody do that with what they're passionate about, so it can attract other people, and then cross-promoting those so people know where to go for that. So it's fun.
Absolutely. Wow. That's impressive. I didn't know that stuff. Wow. Okay.
Those are by chance. I wasn't like, oh, what can I do next? The one that I really was, what can I do next, was, or what can I do? The BP compliance was something that I was like, we really need to create this. And then the EOS V2 was definitely a, we need to do this for me. But the other ones, it was kind of a collaborative effort in which I just helped them organize and get it set up for them to.
So collaboration is extremely important. And even when you provided those other avenues for people to collaborate, I mean, sometimes it just takes a little bit of action, which definitely helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thumbs up. I mean,
oh, thanks. Thank you.
So I guess outside, like, what actually got you involved into blockchain, and I guess why EOS?
That's a fun question. So I have a consultant agency, and I do digital marketing for clients, and within that do content strategies and SEO. So a lot of the clients, I will do the content strategy or even create the content for them to rank the first page on Google for their keyword. And when doing so, some of these clients are making like $30,000, $50,000 a month just on advertising. And that's due to the content that's created so they can rank. And, you know, over time, like, you're paid well for that work, but over time they're always like, well, what's next? I need more. What have you done for me lately? And also in the same right, you write the content, but it is owned by them. So it's like they wrote the content, you didn't write it. You don't have ownership of that either. And it's kind of sad, but I was stuck in the middle of it. And about a year ago, Steve Floyd introduced me to Steam. And he was like, you really need to dig into Steam. He's also like, you need to see what's happening. Check out Brave. It's about to be disrupted. Like, advertising is about to be so disrupted, and so is the ownership of content. So, for instance, on Facebook, you share your content, or on Twitter, you share your content, and someone might see that and they reshare it, but they might get it might go viral with them because they have a bigger audience. And then you lose the ownership to that content, or you give it up. And then they make a bunch of advertising money off of it, right? And then when he introduced me to Steemit, I was really bogged down in that whole paradigm, just kind of miserable, to be honest. And Steemit seems like so promising. Like, wait, you mean that you could write great content and then you could be honored for that, and you could actually make money off of that one piece? Because in a traditional standing of digital marketing, for you to make advertising dollars on what you write, you need to have, it's going to take a few years to build up your website. But with Steem, it is indexed in Google. So if you do Google searches, sometimes you see a Steem article pop up. And to me, that was like, oh, this is like decentralized. This is kind of like freeing, this is freedom. And when he introduced me to Steem, he said, you really need to check out Daniel Lammer. And so at the same time, I signed up for Steem, and I didn't have the time to get into it very much, but I did dig into Daniel Lammer and what he had done and what he was about. And it was just like, it just rang a vibration in me, just like a heartstring of like, wow, a blockchain that could, and talking about his next project, a blockchain that could, that represents life, liberty, property, freedom in general. And it was just like liberating and free for me to think that the technology could back such a great mission. And so when I read about EOS, I was really excited because I was like, and like he had mentioned, the blockchain with heart, that really rang for me, because we're standing for freedoms, and we're not necessarily standing for freedoms from establishment alone. We're standing for freedoms for opportunity for people around the world. And so as you dig into blockchain, you're like, oh, wait, all these people interested in crypto, they're not realizing the technology is the most valuable piece outside of the pump and dumps and the getting in early and the ICOs and all this stuff. It's the technology that's going to free us. And so when I saw that, I didn't really know exactly everything that was going on, but I started studying a lot about it. And later on, I was able to start to write on Steemit and get involved in that. And then whenever EOS, the community, started popping up and there was like groups to join, as soon as I could join those groups, I admit I was a lurker in the dark for a long time. I was like studying people's personalities and how the conversations were going and what the tendencies of people were. And then I started to want to join and be a part of that, because I didn't want to jump in and be so green. People are like, like go read the previous Telegram messages, and so, which is impossible. So, because there's so many. So I just started putting myself out there, and I started to notice other females that were doing it too. And we all kind of, were there for each other and stuff. And it's a really sophisticated environment, I believe, with people that have respect for each other. And sometimes they duke it out in words, but in the end, they try to be respectful. And I just found that so different from other blockchains that were just, in general, it is a boys club. Like, just be honest, it's a boys club, and it's not something that we can change, but we can understand and we can fit in. So it's coming from, crypto is coming from like 4chan, and that's not a place you'd want to send, any woman that you love into the wild of 4chan, because they'll be greatly disrespected and offended. But that environment and community is in crypto, and then it also goes into blockchains. And the idea that EOS was going to be this blockchain that was different, I had to check it out. And it was very different in there. People work together and they volunteer a lot of their time, and they, even if they have differences, they try to understand each other. And if they have arguments, they apologize. And it was just like, wow, this is a great place to be a part of a community. So I choose EOS because it has shown through its actions that it is what it stands for. It is a blockchain with heart. It is centered around life, liberty, property, and freedoms. And sometimes you just have to like dive in and, you know, expose yourself for who you are to see, you know, what it really is. And that's what I found when I was in there. It was just a really great community. So I'm biased towards EOS.
I think we're all a little bit biased towards EOS. I mean, we are here. But I mean, I love that it was, you know, your interest in Daniel Larimer that got you so far over here. And I agree with it being, you know, at the beginning, especially when you do lurk, because I think all of us are at least partly doing that. It's great because it is such a small kind of community in a way when we're all starting it and when the blockchain was launched. And yeah, you do really get a lot of team spirit.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, you see, yeah, a lot of people duking it out, but that's just, you know, strong opinions.
Yeah. And I mean, and I also want to mention, I know you have other questions, that I don't know if everybody knows that TopKpop, Jenny, is the technical genius behind EOS Go. So EOS Go is kind of the media that bridged everyone together. And, you know, if you remember the ongoing elections all weekend and all that stuff, like you were behind the camera, you were behind the feeds, and you made that happen. And I don't know if everybody knows that, but I'm just really excited about this series for you to be able to come out and represent yourself, because I feel like not everybody knew that. And to me, like, to be honest, Jenny, I looked into that as soon as they said, as soon as I saw EOS Go, I was like, oh, this is brilliant. And I looked into when you know, sometimes it was like, there was hints that it was TopKpop. There's little hints. And I was like, who is this person? And then I got so excited when I realized it was a female. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, this girl is a force to be reckoned with. And I knew that I wanted to reach out to you and talk to you, but I didn't know how to do it at the time. I was new, so I was just kind of waiting to see. And I just wanted to say that I really appreciate all that you did for EOS Go, and I know that the guys are in front of the camera and they did a lot too, but it wouldn't have been anything without your help. So I just really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I mean, not supposed to be about me at all, but
you're welcome.
I mean, yeah, I did. I had a little, you know, thing behind the scenes where my name doesn't give me away, but that's why we're doing this. And then I get to focus on females. Exactly, which is wonderful. And you're gonna make me blush, but thank you.
You're welcome.
So we'll bypass that.
Yeah.
Now, so do you have anything that you're currently working on that you would love to tell us about, or just what are you currently working on?
So currently within the community, I'm helping with the referendum platform, and that's really exciting because that's kind of what we're all waiting for. Mm-hmm. We have to ratify the Constitution. We have to decide whether we want V1 or V2. We have to decide if everybody wants, you know, Rex or URI or a worker proposal system, and the referendum is going to make that official. So I'm helping with the content strategy behind that, whatever the guides need for in content or whatever, try to help them with that stuff. And that's coming really soon. So that's a really exciting project. I know people are antsy. Your patience is a virtue, and it will be worth your patience. So, and then another project is EOS Rise. It is it's at eosrise.io, and it is a traveling dev workshop with Phil Mesnier of OCI and Eugene Luskin, our co-founder of EOS Tribe. And I don't know if you know who Phil Mesnier is, but he helped write a lot of the code for EOS.io. So he is so kind to want to continue to help people learn how to write smart contracts on the platform. And then Eugene is there to help you secure the smart contracts. So it's a 2-day workshop. We're traveling around. I'm helping with that. The marketing side and organization side of that for the guys, so they can just show up and do their thing and not have to worry about it. But we have a workshop in Denver coming up October, I believe 10th and 11th. No, 11th and 12th. And then we have a workshop planned for Oslo at the Crypto Finance in Norway with BitSpace. And then another workshop at the much anticipated DevCon in January in Tampa. So that's something that I'm helping them with. And then also the EOS Toots is something that I'm also helping with. We started it when we released our campaign announcement way back when, and some of the people that were on the project, some people from EOS Austin, they kind of faded out. And then we got so busy in the campaign that we weren't able to give it as much love. But that's one of the projects that I'm helping with as well. And an exciting project coming up that I will wait to talk about at another time, but it involves women and involves proxies. And the reason I chose proxy is because a long time ago, Daniel Larimer was in Gov and people were like, what do we do now? All the whales are voting themselves in, and everyone was upset. And he had mentioned that proxies were key to like checks and balances in this situation, along with filing claims and whatnot. So I knew that I wanted to be a part of helping create the balance that was needed, but I didn't want to jump in right away just for the sake of it. And I just really was like hoping for when I was inspired, and I've been inspired, and there's a really great group of women that are inspired as well. So that's going to be really exciting to reveal.
Well, we definitely look forward to that, because anything women is like awesome, right up the alley, right?
Yeah.
No, it's awesome you're working on so many other projects. Like I love the traveling the developer kind of thing. And I did not know that you were helping with that. And that's absolutely awesome, because the more people we can get, learning smart contracts and stuff for the EOS.io software, the better.
Yeah.
And I was going to touch on something else. You mentioned it at the very beginning, and no, it passed. But I do know that you are going to be speaking at DevCon in January. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you're the first woman speaker that's going to be booked on. That's awesome.
I'm really honored. I'm really nervous. So just to be honest, I'm really nervous. I mean, it's a dev conference. Full disclosure, I'm not a dev, but I work with devs, and I help with a traveling workshop for devs. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I'm here to serve, and I'm really honored by the opportunity, and I'm really excited. So yes, you have to come to DevCon and come cheer me on, because I'll need it. I'll need your energy.
Well, and it'll be sunny too, so you'll get like an extra boost of sunshine energy, hopefully.
Yeah, no. It'll be great. It's just I don't know. I guess it was thrown at me left field, and it was so exciting, and I was overwhelmed, and so I'm really excited about that, because I'm looking at DevCon like, wow, this is gonna be so exciting, and then it's like you'll be speaking it, and it's like, what? Oh, this is like overwhelming. If I could shoot like moonbeams and sunshine out of every pore of my body, that's how I feel inside. So
that's a good description. I thought you were gonna go with the cannons and streamers type of thing.
Oh yeah, that would be even more exciting, right?
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to all of that and all the projects that you mentioned too. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Um, so I'm going to go on. I will go on to the next one so we can bridge this over here too. Is there something in the EOS ecosystem, because you are so involved, which is fantastic, that you are looking forward to in the next little while as well?
I'm looking, as far as things that are needed that I'm looking forward to, I'm definitely looking forward to the referendum. I'm looking forward to the possibilities to make, you know, to make some more, I guess, gains through projects like Chintai and through projects like Rex. Looking forward to the opportunities for us to see what URI can do. As far as like dApps, I'm excited about, there's so many dApps I'm excited about, but it's just the idea that we can have dApps that have a real use case and that we can forget that we're using the blockchain. Like those dApps are really exciting to me. So different programs like Higher Vibes and If Then When are really exciting for like a workforce standpoint of like, hey, let's get people jobs in this. Another dApp that I recently found was, I believe it's BlocksFit or something. It's like a workout dApp where you get rewarded for working out and you can work out with other people, and it kind of incentivizes a healthy life and active lifestyle. I think that's really exciting for me. Those are some of the dApps. One of the dApps that we have in our incubator is Coco, and it is like Quora for the blockchain. So question answer, and you can rate the answers and add to the answers. So in the end, you can see what everybody has contributed, and those can be voted on. And then you have like the best answer or like a complete resource of the answer for that. So like having more voices on the answer to questions, that's going to be really exciting too. And then we have I'm not trying to just boast what we have going on, but we do have a wallet coming out, and the guys behind it are brilliant, and it's going to be really awesome. It's called the Metatron wallet. And that's really exciting. I'm excited about that coming out as well, because just the people involved and the different options that it'll have and things like that. So there's definitely a lot of things to be looking forward to. And then, of course, the side project that I'm working on with some prominent female people in the space, I think will be really exciting for the space as well. So
wow,
there's much more.
Well, there's always something coming out of the woodwork, I tell you. I actually did not know that Coco was in your incubator, because I am looking forward to that one. I mean,
are you cool?
Absolutely. I love that thing, because I mean, I search Google religiously, and I always have a question, and I love that, you know, people can input their answers, and I think that's fabulous, because I forget things half the time. But the last question I did ask, you mentioned the referendum, and that's what had passed my mind. But I think that's fantastic that A, you're working on it, and two, I think everyone in the community, to be honest, is looking forward to that. It is so, that just allows us to make decisions. And I mean, so yeah, a lot of people have been patient, some not so much, but.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard when you're so decentralized, and you know, you don't want to be centralized.
Yeah.
You want to come to consensus, but it's funny that we've been talking about it for like 5 months or more, and people are just now popping into those groups and have so many opinions about it. And it's like, oh, we're testing it on the jungle net right now, and you have all these opinions and add-ons. It's just like, where were you 5 months ago? You know, but you know, that's how it goes. It's different because it's not like it's a product that we can develop privately and then test and then release. It's a product that everybody's kind of putting their own 2 cents into along the way. And we try to make everyone happy, but we're also just trying to do a minimum viable product for now, like not the big gung-ho at the end product that we really want, but something that can be done because everyone's volunteering their time to do it. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be really exciting what happens. There's already a lot of proposals out there. People are already doing polls. Within the referendum, there's going to be difference between a complex proposal and a simple proposal. So a simple proposal is going to be something where you create a poll of like, should we have, you know, a yacht party at the DevCon conference? And then people can go in there and they can go yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And then a complex proposal will be one that will have guidelines that you have to pass before it gets passed, and standards to that. And we've set up standards and guidelines to that because it involves code, and it involves things like the Constitution, and it involves things like the Ricardian contract and Ricardian contracts. And those are way more serious and critical than a simple proposal. You know, should we have a yacht party or not? Should we change the Constitution to B2 or should we ratify B1? Like, that's going to be real serious, and that involves code, and that involves auditing the code. That involves a higher threshold to passing. And if you look at Article 11, the threshold for passing the referendum is extremely high because it involves changing the software and code agreements. So it's going to be interesting how we pass that threshold, and then also what kind of simple proposals will be proposed and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm excited to see what goes through. There's talk that people are going to form a group. Brendan has already been talking about, from the worker proposal group, creating standards for proposals and for and so that's forming, like, as we speak. That's something that they were talking about last night. And I was asked to be a part of that, and I had to admit, I was like, I do not have expertise in writing ballots proposals, but I'd like to be helpful and help people where I can. So it's just exciting that people are like really getting, you know, they're really feeling the flame as it gets closer. So it'll be fun.
Like you said, I mean, we've been talking about it for months now. And I mean, I know everyone's, you know, there's some people that are a little anxious, but it, you know, it's had to be built from the ground up. Yeah. And with everyone putting in their little opinions, because like you said, it is, you know, kind of public, and it's supposed to be community because it's just, but yet it's all decentralized. It takes a lot of time. So yeah, I'm excited to see all of what happens.
And I wanted to note on that with the referendum, the people that are involved helping do that would be me, and Steve Flood got me into that. He's from EOS Tribe, and as well as EOS Nation, EOS, Grey Mass, EOS Canada. And I believe that's all that have been working on the internal process of building that. That's who, I hope I'm not missing somebody, but I try to include them all. But those people have been donating a lot of their time and resources to trying to make this work while also keeping it decentralized. So it's a code that which you can add to your tool, so you can also have referendum on your tool. But the platform we're making is going to be a platform that doesn't involve any big logos in your face. It'll have credits. It'll have thoughts behind the making of it. It'll have content so you know what things are. It'll have links to places that you might want to go when you're there. So if you want to go to the worker proposal system or see the proposal, there'll be a link to that. If you want to go to a forum to discuss, there'll be a link to that. And then if you want to learn more about voter proxies, there's a link for that. And then also a link educating you about the referendum, what Ricardian contract you're signing, what part of the Constitution that we are implementing here, and just education in general. So there's a trusted, it's kind of like the voting portal for the community built voting portal that, you know, we were about to launch the chain and they're like, we have no way to vote. And so community members came together to build the voting portal. And that's kind of the same thing that's happening with the referendum. We know we need it, so people have come together to build it, and they're donating a lot of time doing this. So being patient is really is really graceful of you. And I appreciate all the people that show patience for that. And I do ask that you continue to understand that these people are not getting paid for their work. And they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart because they know we need it. So like, you know, having gratitude for that is, I think, important.
Well, even the fact that you guys are putting on credits instead of logos, I think that also shows what the mentality is, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's not just an advertising chip. So
that was Steve Floyd. He created in his mind this UI UX to bring it together without bias.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And then, within that, you could go to the Gray Mass wallet, and, you know, Gray Mass is going to support where you can vote referendum. I believe other tools, EOS Toolkit is going to support where you can vote referendum there. But if you don't know where to go and you're new into this, having a one central place at the community belt is really important for trust. And then as people get into the community and they learn, oh, I really like Gray Mass, or I really like Jenner EOS's EOS Toolkit, and then they can start to bias out with what they feel comfortable with. But to have that central place without logos everywhere, and that you can just trust that, hey, this, you know, because there's going to be referendums that pop up that are just scam referendums. And you see that all the time. So to have a place that you can just know you trust this place, and it's not throwing bias logos up in you, like vote for us kind of thing. But if you dig into it, you can see who's behind it. And that we felt like that was better for discovery and for a better, you know, content strategy for that anyways. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So now the women in EOS, I mean, I know you've met quite a few already. So the ones in EOS, let alone blockchain, I know that they're increasing in numbers. What would you tell any women that are maybe on the outskirts that are cautious about getting involved?
So let's talk about, like you mentioned, the numbers for a second. And in a study done with Bitcoin, there is about 8.5 or 7% women engaged in that community. And then within ownership on blockchain, women that are owners of a blockchain company or anything in blockchain, a founder, the percent is like 2 to 3%. It's like really small, but it's growing. So to let you know as a woman that if you want a place to come and like figure out like who you are and what you have to offer blockchain, I invite you to EOS because everybody is really, really nice and encouraging. And there's a great, strong presence of females that have taken the lead worldwide, like SHIOS. And then there's also great, there's great like programs which you can run your own meetup, like Blockchain Babes. And there's support systems within, but you just got to jump into the pool, right? Even if you just want to put like your toe in for a little bit or whatever, come here and talk to any of the females. They're all super nice. They'll funnel you into a group that you feel comfortable, so you can get started. I think the most important thing is to have courage, because being that the percentage is so small, your opportunity to be heard and to be recognized for your work is very great. So in a world where it's an industry where it's mostly female, you're going to get lost in the crowd. You'll have to just have a larger megaphone and a larger following and do more and have more backing and more and more and more and more and more. When the threshold for being appreciated and getting your feet on the ground and making a difference and I guess making yourself somebody that has added value to things is way easier in blockchain. And you know, I'm biased to EOS, but it's way easier in blockchain in general because the percentage is low. And all the women are friends. They all stand behind each other. You know, they try to encourage each other. They help other women know, you know, just stay away from that person or room or whatever and go have your light shine here because they've shown to respect your time. And even if you're not a programmer, like you have a space in blockchain. I'm not a programmer. I'm coming from digital marketing and a media production background. You know, so coding's not necessarily where my added value. Maybe I will take C++ classes now, and which I'm actually really interested in. But you don't have to be a programmer to add value. Like we need as many women as possible. To be honest, like just come in and ask around, and you'll see that the majority of the women are really, really encouraging, and they want everybody to find their place and to shine. So I would say out of all the industries, you know, even though you might struggle in STEM, being the only woman or the one of few women in the classes or whatever, blockchain is open and free. It's peer-to-peer. It's ready for you to come and figure out what you want to do and how you want to change the world. So I would say having courage and coming in and figuring out where your place is and not giving up, because, you know, sometimes it can be discouraging. And I think that's why it's important that we all stand together, because you're going to have those days where you just don't feel like you gave your best, or you feel discouraged and you need some girl to go, don't worry about it. Get back in there, you know? So I would say, even if you're a mom, I'm a mother, the women that I'm talking to, they're all moms. Our time is precious. We understand that you can't spend 18 hours a day doing this stuff, in which I have done that. And it's really hard, and it's hard on your family. It's hard on your home life. So creating an atmosphere at which we can be really effective with our time, and we can have women help guide us through mentorships and apprenticeships programs, that I think that's going to really help bring women in and feel safe to reveal like their talents to everybody.
I love that. I mean, you're right. It isn't just for, you know, people that know how to code or develop things. And I even myself, I had to find that out, and it, you know, but you do connect. I think the major point I loved about what you said, though, is even though the numbers are small, you're right. I've never thought about it like that. You're coming into something and you may be less in numbers, but when you do well, when you put yourself out there, you will have possibly a brighter light shining on you.
Yeah.
I think I love that. I didn't think about that ever before until you said that.
Really? Yeah, you should definitely think about that. Like the percentage is small, so you have a better chance of standing out. Like,
yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Like a really good point. I was like, oh, that's a good selling point.
And, you know, I never thought about that till I researched the numbers. And then I was like, so this means that, you know, like that's what, and then you watch other interviews of women in blockchain, and they're all like, yeah, there's not a lot of us, and we all friends, and, you know, we're agnostic to which chain or protocol you're using. We're just trying to support each other. And I was just like, wow, this is a really great opportunity for anybody to come in and just like work their butt off at something and really shine. So yeah, if that's a good selling point, let's sell it.
All right. Now, are there any challenges that you see for women in this space at the moment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about majority of people coming into blockchain are coming from crypto. And like I mentioned earlier, crypto is coming from like 4chan, like, and, you know, and then also coming from like a gamer industry. The majority of gamers are males. There's very few females, and they have to really like stand their ground and be real tough and have thick skin to adhere to what is said or thrown at them or whatever. And, you know, I'm really, I admire those women. They're very strong and very beautiful, and they do a really good job. But you have to understand that we are entering into an industry that is a boys club or bros club or whatever. But we don't have to be afraid of that. We can just understand that, hey, this, you know, and this group, you know, like the EOS back alley, don't go in there. If you're female, don't go in there unless you're down for just dirty jokes and whatever. Don't go in there. But in other groups, it's more, you know, kind of keep to a higher bar of respecting women and wanting them to be heard and stuff like that. I would say just realize what you're coming into and realize that it is not something to keep you back. It's something to understand that, hey, this is where I'm coming into. I need to stay strong within my morals and my honor, and do my best. And if I can't be effective in this group or this project or initiative, reach out to other women that know what all the projects are that are going on and say, hey, is there another project I can jump into? Because I'm just not getting anywhere in this project. And that happens in, to me, that happens in one of the groups in early on when we were talking about worker proposal system group. A really bright woman, Lisa Chandler, came in there, and she was bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, but came with a lot of experience on nonprofit and how to structure that. And she, and like back in the beginning of July, I believe it was like July 9th, she might've been working on it since before then. Like, she came out with a proposal for the common funds. And this detailed proposal is probably close to 60 pages or 45 pages long. And it just goes into great detail, a proposal for the worker proposal system, for people to come and be an administrative layer for what's going on. And she like spent a lot of time on that. And she put it out there and she got some responses, but it didn't really go anywhere in that group because they were busy doing their own thing, I guess. And so she was like, well, I don't have a lot of time. So I bowed out and doing my own thing. But when they're ready for me to come back, I'll jump back in to do something. And for me, that was really sad because she had done so much work and she like thought it all out. And then I started to wonder, well, how much of this did the worker proposal system copy in their proposal? And you know what I mean? Like, and there's no truth to that. I don't know any evidence of that, but it was just like, we lost this powerhouse of a woman because it just wasn't the right time. So being able to notice that and notice who those people are and to be able to spread that message. So, I mean, for instance, Daniel Lammer and URI was talking about starting a URI nonprofit. And so, and that it was like, ding, 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 Lisa, we need to get Lisa in here. And so I went into URI and I shared her proposal and was like, hey, can you guys give her some love? I think she'd be great for helping think out what the nonprofit could be structured like. And she obviously has great skills in writing proposals. And so I threw her back in the mix. And I think within that you find that there's certain people or there's certain situations or groups that dominate the conversation and that can be crass or rude. And when you find out who those people are, there is a whisper network. And it's not something that I'm just created. It's something that goes along all the blockchains, that goes along, women everywhere in any industry. It's who are the catalysts that are keeping you from being productive and successful. And it's usually people are naysayers or just say crude things and just disrupt things or a hurdle in the process. And those people, not to call anyone out specifically, but those people create a barrier for women to feel comfortable, because no matter what they say, it's some negative thing to cut you down. And so you feel like you're not getting anywhere. Right. And that I know of 2 women that have left EOS because of that environment. And it made me really sad. And that's what it made me think about, like, how can we change this? How can we onboard women into EOS in an environment that has fertile ground for them to grow and build and be a part of this, And so that whisper network is not a threat. It's just saying, hey, if you want to do this and you're good at this, go into this room, avoid that room, or avoid interfacing with that person, because studies have shown through many women that they are going to, not let you get past a certain point with your voice. I think it's important that we band together as women and stand up for each other. And when we see that happening, we all pop into that room and we all say, hey, I don't agree with this. And we point to facts and I think you should do this. And if that doesn't get anywhere, then we help direct that woman into an environment that's better suited for their skills and qualities. It's about like, you know, kind of banding together. And this is not, it's not about a gender war at all. It's not. I'm not a feminist. I'm not. I have nothing against feminists at all, but I feel like when we are extremes, we lose the greatness in the middle. And when we find that middle ground and blending, you know, it creates beautiful things like life. And within that, we can, you know, just be strong and stand together and be there for one another. If something's happening that's not right, stand up for them. If that doesn't get anywhere, then let's help find another place for them to shine, is what I think that we could do to overcome that. Because, you know, it is a boys club, but that's okay. You know, it's okay.
That's fair, though. I mean, you're honest with your own experiences about the challenges that you see. I mean, we could all just paint it rosy and be like, oh, nothing, you know, it's completely fine. Come on in, the door's wide open. But life's not even that way. So,
yeah.
You know,
and it's most industries, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So instead you're like, well, we may be the minority numbers, but here's maybe how to go about it to come in, because we want you to come in. Just, yeah, I love the back alley and the Whisper Network.
The Whisper Network, that is not my creation. That's been said by many blockchain women, but it is true. And I mean, we do that anyways, and we hit each other and like, can you believe, you know, can you believe what's going on? What, where? And we try to go in there and say, hey, this is not right, or whatever. But I think it's something that is just going to be wherever industry we go, we're going to try to look out for each other.
No, and I think that's a fantastic.
And guys have the same thing too. Don't let them fool you and point fingers at us. They do the same thing. And it's not, you know, let's be fair. It's not just us, you know, talking crap. It's us looking out for each other, and the guys do the same thing. So they band together and they come in and they, you know, set up the volleyball, and then they send their main guy to come in and spike it on people. Like, you see it all the time. You see the patterns in which they enter rooms. Like, we're not dumb. We're really, really smart. The women in blockchain are really, really smart. Mm-hmm. And so are the men. And so we just need to understand, you know, what the truth is, and be like, okay, this is what it is, and this is what can be changed, and let's do something. And if you're not wanting to help that change, it's okay, because there's plenty of people that do want to help that change. So it'll happen if it's needed or not, you know, regardless of who's backing it.
Absolutely. I think if someone needs it, there's a use for it, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
So now, knowing that, you know, some of these challenges are out there, and knowing that there are not a huge amount of women in the cryptocurrency blockchain space as of yet, but it's growing. How do we continue to get more women into EOS specifically? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I think it's the same for all blockchains. It's about awareness. It's about education. Like I mentioned earlier, that you don't have to be a programmer. You can, you know, come from a nonprofit background. You can come from a product background. You can come from marketing. You can just be really good at administrative. The doors are wide open. I think that what we really need is awareness, and we need encouragement. We need mentors, and within that, creating awareness through content, through telling people, through meetup groups. For education, it's letting them know it's more than just programming. Through encouragement, it's being there for each other and saying, hey, I just saw a job posting for this, you should jump in there. Or saying, hey, let me introduce you to somebody, you got this. Or, you know, you did a really good job with that proposal, or you did a really great job here. I think that that was really important for the situation, and I think you'd add a lot of value here. And when you get knocked down, for people to say, hey, you know what? And I'm talking to men too. When you see a woman in a room that is trying to help and trying to give her 2 cents, and she's standing strong and taking blows to the chin, to even reach out to her behind the scenes and just say, hey, you know what? I believe in what you're saying. And then back up your words. jump back into that room and stand up for the woman, because it's one thing saying something behind closed doors, and it's another thing standing up and being brave. So for men to be brave and stand up for a woman and say, hey, you know, I don't think the way you said that didn't really sound right, and I disagree, and I think that this is a good idea, and maybe if we thought out more about the second part, we might be onto something. Those encouragements go a really, really long way, because when that encouragement has been released, you have that moment where a woman can sit there and smile to herself that she's getting somewhere and she's doing something valuable, and then she can continue to do it on, you know. And the other thing is the mentorships. Mentorships are so important. And I believe it was the Cyber Code twins that have this on their Twitter page, talking about we need more role models. And this is so key. And we have role models with mentorships or apprenticeships, whatever you want to call it. But to be able to say, hey, I've been there before. Come on, let me tell you about what I know. Let me tell you about who I know, because who you know is really important. And the second key to that is being a really good person and friend. So in the combination of who you know and being a good person and friend that treats others the way you want to be treated, doors just open up for you. People think of you and they send you leads. And then you find great mentors in the space that, you know, can give you some of their time and direct you in a direction or help you rethink your approach or something like that. I think those are the key factors that are going to get more women involved in blockchain and more women involved in EOS specifically.
Fantastic. I love it. You had like a great answer. This is it. I'm laying it out. Well, man, yeah. I mean, there's so much for people to think about when they're going to watch this over, which is
probably talk too much.
It's uplifting. I mean, you're hitting all the points. So, and that's what I think everybody, not just women, kind of need to hear.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. And like, you know, shout out to EOS. Like, they're traveling the world.
That's true.
Creating educational programs. They're just like, they're nailing it. And, you know, and for people that don't have the capital to travel the world and create these programs, or they don't know how to create funding for stuff like that, or they don't have a product, or they, whatever, you know, they didn't go through whatever, no excuses. And that's why we're trying to start back at home in EOS. It just, all you got to do is join a Telegram group. Yes. Watch for the woman that pops up. Reach out to them. If they can't help you, ask them to connect you with a woman that can, and you'll get funneled to someone that you feel comfortable with. And then that's when you can decide whether you want to tell them, you know, what your goals are, and they can help direct you where you want to go. So like, big kudos to EOS. We're trying to take care of some stuff back at home while they conquer the world, in which we can all make the world a better place together, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fantastic. Now, what do you see the future as EOS being like? Do you see or have an envision of where you see it going in the next like 5 years?
So that's really exciting to think about, like what can happen, because we've already proven that EOS is the fastest blockchain. We've already proven that it has the capability to produce as many blocks as which, you know, companies like Visa could actually go on the blockchain and find a home in EOS and not have to worry about people waiting in lines for 10 minutes to validate their payment, right? Mm-hmm. I think that the more dApps that we're building, the more DACs and DAOs, we're able to test the grounds and see what's working. And then eventually in 5 years, there'll be people, you know, the Steam Up 2.0 coming out, people will be engaging in these dApps and not even realize that they're on the blockchain. I think that's going to be really an exciting piece, because you'll have people that are just enjoying themselves and maybe creating value and part of a supply and demand economy. But not even realizing that they're on like a blockchain. So I think that the price of EOS is going to go way up, especially with things like Chentai and Rex. I think the floodgates are going to open with something like URI. And I'm just really excited about the future, because the tech is already disrupting Bitcoin and disrupting Ethereum, and we have a long way to go, but they're already realizing that they're going to have to change what their tech is in order to keep up with EOS.
Oh, absolutely. It's been wonderful watching it disrupt everything else. And we don't even have like what they coin as like a killer DApp or anything. We don't even have any of those things yet. And
yeah,
slicing through everything else. And I'm even watching, you know, a competitor blockchain try to scramble to do updates and hard forks. And it's kind of funny to watch.
Oh yeah, like with inner blockchain communication, side chains, being able to build parallel and connect with each other, and just like watch out, you know, like watch out. It's scary. I would be scared if I were them. I'm not trying to threaten them. I'm just saying, like, it's open source software, so yeah, you're welcome.
Use it. Yeah, exactly. I feel like you should just go say that to Dan. That's all you gotta say, Dan. You know, to everybody else, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Just say you're welcome to everyone. It's okay. You're welcome.
Well, I mean, it's been awesome because we've had so many questions and you've come up with so many wonderful answers. I actually only have one more left, which is, okay, so we are back. We actually had a little computer die. So we're back. And we were actually left on the hook. You won't see that part, but I was left on the hook with, is there anything else that you would like to mention or share to the viewers? Because this is your time. You have the floor.
Okay, a lot of pressure, right? I guess to encourage people to come and join telegrams of interest, or to come into EOS and find a female you see and ask them if they can guide you to what you're trying to do with EOS, or if you want to get more involved in blockchain. And if they can't help you, they'll refer you to somebody that can, or they'll refer you to a room that can. I'm really, really excited about the collaboration that's happening behind the scenes with all of the women. The women are realizing the power that is available to other women if they come in and just have the courage to express what they're good at and what their goals are, and then the synergy that's happening. That we all kind of want the same thing. We want a blockchain future that is welcoming to our children, and to, you know, if you're a male, to your wife, to your mom, your grandma, your sister, your cousin, whoever is female. We want to create an environment that they feel like they can come and be themselves, and they can, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Telegram. Go away. No, I'm like telling people to come to Telegram, but what a disappointment of an answer. But
no, it's not at all. It was good. I mean, that's what it is. You come to Telegram, you get involved in Telegram, and those messages are
yeah. Well, you get obsessed because you see all these people that are genuinely trying to help, and that want to volunteer their time, and that value each other's opinions. And you feel like, you know, I've said this a few times, you feel like you've like found your tribe. And I'm not just saying that because I'm part of EOS Tribe, but that's how we really felt. And we're not trying to, you know, encourage tribalism in any way, but you just feel comfortable to be yourself, and you feel like you can trust people, and then you are not let down whenever you open up. And I think that's what's really special. So I just encourage everybody that's a part of EOS, male or female, to encourage women to come build and grow together on EOS, and let us be the standard blockchain that shows other blockchains what can happen when you are welcoming and try to create situations that are welcoming to women and other people in general. So
fantastic. Famous last words.
Yeah, so let's go change the world together, really.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Come on, women. We got to do this.
Yeah.
And everyone, actually, not just women, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the ideas that are going behind the scenes for a program to help onboard women would actually be helpful to men too. So It's, you know, we pick our niche because we're good at it. We're women, we know the struggles they face, but the same process that we're trying to onboard women into EOS and into blockchain can be applied towards welcoming men as well. So
love it. Absolutely love it.
yeah.
Well, I thank you so much for taking the time to sit down and talk with me, let alone being the very first one to do the show.
I am honored.
Well, so am I. So I'm like, I'm so glad she said yes when I asked.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the deal was that you didn't know was that I get to interview you.
I did not
Women
know.
in Blockchain.
There you go. I did not know that.
Yeah, that was the deal that you agreed to that you didn't know was
A silent agreement.
Yeah.
Well, I will say goodbye here, but I'm going to stop recording and then I'll say a proper goodbye because it's just less rude anyways.
Okay.
So, thank you very much. And I will have any links that you give me for people to look out for where you are or maybe places that you want to steer women into. We'll talk about that after. But thank you very much for taking the time with me today. Thank you so much. And for all you do for EOS.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What you just did is exactly what I'm trying to encourage other people to do. So I really appreciate that. And thank you for having me and for thinking of me. It really means a lot and it's encouraging. I hope that we can share that kind of generosity to everybody that comes in. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you again. Bye.
Bye.